Welcome back to Offside Opinions. I'm Jack,
G'day, I'm Monty.
and we're back with another episode of our rugby podcast. It's been a great few weeks in rugby. We are doing this one virtually. It's our first time, but we've got a lot to talk about tonight.
Heaps to talk about. I mean, time to be a rugby fan is unreal. There's just been games on games. If it's not, international rugby, it's the NPC, and it's unreal. Game every time you turn something on,
That's it. And man, what a time to be a Cantabrian fan as well. Winning the Ranfurly
mate.
Shield, defending it again. What a
Pretty
result!
early, pretty early in the season to win it, and you got to look after that log of wood for the rest of the season. But
That's
that
it.
just makes every game so exciting.
We're actually at the defence there on Saturday, and the atmosphere was unreal. I think they said it was
Oh,
like 18,500 tickets sold. So big showing and a great game. We got out to a real lead, and then they clawed it back in the end, and it really came down to the wire. And the cheer that went up as we scored that final one was just unreal.
that's so cool. For an NPC game to be selling that many tickets is
I know,
absolutely awesome to see the growth there.
100%. And it was a miserable, rainy afternoon, so it was pretty sick to be inside the roof, under the covers.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a big few days in All Blacks rugby as well. We've had three warm-up games against the teams in South Africa. What did you make of it?
Three good games, three wins. Obviously, Dave Rennie still undefeated as AB's as coach, as you'd hope. But I mean, two of them were convincing. One of them was shaky. I was a
Yeah,
bit worried
Stormers was a bit nerve-wracking for a little bit.
there. It didn't look like the clinical All Blacks. They're going to need to be a whole lot better than that going up against South Africa.
Yeah,
I think they know that as well. Obviously, the game against the Sharks, that's the level we'll want to play at. And it has been three very different sides that have been named for the All Blacks. I
yeah,
don't think we'll see the sides that have been played end up being named for the first test for the Springboks. It's going to be a very different mix of people, I think.
yeah. Although with that said, like I think probably the Sharks, the team name for the Sharks was probably the closest to the Test side. Like the other one's really a not a B team, but there's a lot of players in there that haven't played much that they're kind of giving a bit of few minutes to. A few people coming back from overseas, back from injury,
Definitely
kind of
having to
that
integrate them into the
next
squad.
level down.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, it will be a big one. That first result, Stormers versus All Blacks, was a little bit shaky at times. Really cleaned up in the last 10 minutes, and I think probably what stood out the most for me there was just how important the scrum and the maul are going to be. And
mm,
like that's so obvious when you think South African rugby, you think, hard contest, physicality, and set piece.
yeah,
And I think probably the ABs just came in a bit underdone on that. Like it's probably not, it wasn't really our premier scrumming team, but poor Tossie just kept getting pinged left, right, and centre. And I think
it's
what that showed to me was the ABs need to be better with the ref. And I think you've seen that in the last two games they've adjusted to how it's being refed. But I think, there really was just a number of unnecessary penalties that really brought the Stormers back in. I remember I was saying to you, like we were watching, and suddenly we were down their end, and we went to a scrum, conceded a scrum penalty, they kicked out, won the line out, kicked out again, and suddenly it's a scrum down on our try line when we were just down their end half a minute ago. So like it was kind of that piggybacking up the park. Um, but anyway, came away with the result, got the job done in the end, and moved on to a pretty clinical demolishing of the Sharks.
Yeah, thankfully, and I think Stormers looking at that 21-38. I think that last sort of minutes where we can see where we scored quite a few tries, that really helped it. I don't think that scoreline shows quite how close that game was. It really got away
Yeah,
there in the
agreed.
last minutes.
Yep,
But yeah, I mean to come back 54-0, beat the Sharks, that's unreal. And then
it's a
50 to
statement, eh?
19 against the Bulls, again, awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think the Stormers' scoreline flattered the All Blacks. Like they look like they might get toppled, but I
Mm,
also think like that was a team who hasn't really played together. A lot of our second choice combinations, and for them to go through a close game like that, to feel the pressure, to be in the furnace, and then like you'd say it was largely similar that team that rolled out against the Bulls looking vastly improved. Much
yes.
better for it, much more clinical. Still a few things that didn't really go to hand. There probably 50 was there was probably another 20 or 30 points out there if they were a bit more on it. But
Hmm.
yeah, they look good.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think, as well as you put it, it's the I don't want to say second tier players, but definitely just maybe not who we're going to name in our first 15. Looking lethal. They are looking deadly. And obviously, we're the All Blacks. It is the international squad, but the Bulls are by no means a scrappy team. Like, they are a respectable South African side, and
Yeah,
they played extremely well, as you would do going up that level to play the All Blacks. For a 50
yeah,
to 19 win, that's quite solid. Come around and looking really, really good. I think we've got 30, 35 really top A tier players in the
yeah.
All Black side to call from for these Springbok matches.
It's been cool seeing kind of the next man up on some of those midweek games where have stepped in and it hasn't been, majorly deficient or scrum time initially was the biggest difference, but I
Mm.
think really they've done well across the park. We also saw the Springboks have a hit out against Argentina, which probably didn't quite go to plan. It's not quite the result they were probably hoping for.
Dude, I love Argentina, man. I love games played in Argentina. I love the stadium there, the atmosphere there, how the Argentinians play. I mean, I thought for a second there they were going to do it. Honestly,
It it
um,
looked like it was on for a minute, eh? Yeah, and
yeah.
man, what a blow that would have been for the Springboks. There's
Oh,
been a lot of chat
dude.
online from the Box fans, and we love them, and they've got confidence as they should. Two-time world champs and best in the world at the minute. But man, what I would have given for them to come down a peg
Oh,
and lose away from home with a, that would have just set up this first Test match just so much more. As a result, I think the fact that Argentina gave them a run for their money will have rattled a few cages, and I imagine Russie will be working them pretty hard. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I
Does it?
almost was hoping, they'd either demolish the RGs and come in like real confident and maybe a little underdone. And I think the
Yeah.
close run is just gonna put that to bed. There is just no chance that they're not all working like crazy in that box camp.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it helps or hinder how close it was? And I think it hinders us, to be honest.
Oh,
I think
I
it
think
puts a
so.
fire
I
under
think they'll
them.
be fired up. Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed. I
yeah.
think like it's interesting. That first game against the Stormers exposed a few things for the ABs, right? They were looking a bit shaky under the high ball. The scrum wasn't amazing. The maul, they were giving away pens, and I think
Hmm.
if you were looking at that as any of the South African teams, let alone the Springboks, you're thinking, oh great, these are areas we can exploit. But then you go to the Sharks. They tried a few high bombs and it just did not work. And then the scrum, there was that shove against the Bulls where the AB's pack just absolutely
Mm,
monstered them pretty early in the game. And I think it probably, has fired the ABs up to show those areas of weakness. They've drilled them, they've worked on them. They're trying to show this is actually an area of strength now.
yeah,
And it's not this glaring weakness that it was in the first game. And I
yeah.
think probably the Box will try and do the same. The way that the RGs were just able to slow down their ruck ball. And I think it'd be fair to say that the Box were a bit aimless in their kick strategy. Like, there was quite a few things that just didn't really go their way. And
Mm.
I think that will all be tightened massively by the time they come in for the first test.
Hugely. And I think the Box themselves know that, kind of how they all know that it's going to be a step up when the Box come to play the All Blacks. I'm not saying Argentina's not a top tier side. That I love them. I love them a lot. But like Rennie's already said to the All Blacks about going up against the Springboks, we've had these provincial games. Now it increases, it increases twofold, threefold, fourfold.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that the Springboks know that as well, and they know from going from Argentina to All Blacks. I mean, it's just all, as you said, it's going to be tightened up. Their scrum's going to be on. Their high ball, I think they will use the high ball. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
really a good strategy, a well thought out strategy, and well utilised.
It'll be interesting because, like, historically, the last couple of years, the All Blacks haven't been great under the high ball,
Mm.
and they kind of tightened it a bit against the Sharks. However, that's not the same. You've got very different caliber of chase from your Cheslin Colbys. You've got Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu putting it on a dime, potentially. Kubis Reinach was so dangerous last year with his little chips. It's a totally different ball game. It will be very interesting to see. what they
Absolutely.
do.
I'm pretty confident that the All Blacks can handle it. I like Morby under the high ball. Obviously, Geordie Barrett is Geordie Barrett. What
Yeah,
can't he do?
yeah.
Leroy Carter as well. They're all very very safe. I think we do have some legitimate counters to their high ball target, but I mean, yeah, as you said, from years past, it has been a shaky area
Mm.
for us.
It'll be interesting, eh? It's there's been a few injuries so far. I really feel like, you know, I think the team is coming together, but I feel like we're missing the presence of Timothy Williams quite badly. Like
Yeah,
he's just such a force to be reckoned with. So good around the park, such an enforcer. I think we're getting there now that Tyrell Lomax is kind of finding a bit of form, and
starting to
I
look
think
good.
Ethan de Groot's been playing really well. But I think he's a big loss, Tommy Williams, and it's a shame that he's out. But we've also
Definitely.
lost Caleb Clark, we've lost Billy Proctor. Will Jordan hasn't played yet, neither's Cam Roygard. Rennie was saying he reckons those two will be back, but D Max a bit of a maybe with a bit of an ankle sprain. So, few big names in the mix there.
Seems like every time I sort of opened Instagram or I got looked at my phone, we had another person on the plane home. I mean,
I know.
it's
Ollie Norris
crazy.
was just another one today.
Ollie
He's out.
Norris,
Yeah.
Cortez Ratama, he's now picked up a bit of a niggle. Um,
Yeah, I think he's
in
still in South Africa though. I don't think
it's
Cortez is on the plane.
no, not a plane home, but it's enough of a niggle that they have put Noah Hotham
Yeah,
on a plane. So
interesting, eh?
I find that very
Yeah,
interesting. Obviously, Hotham going over there. Hotham gets the start in the Super Rugby season for the Crusaders over KP. And I
yeah,
think come first Springboks, KP gets named on the bench. And obviously, Hotham doesn't know the squad or anything,
sure,
but
sure.
it's a bit of an odd one, you know?
It is interesting. I think it's a choice. I think something that I've seen with Cortez, and I've been yelling at my TV a little bit. I just when he comes to the ruck, he grabs it and he has a look and then he passes.
Yeah,
And I just think that speed isn't there. And unfortunately, when he's playing, you can see the defense is just set a little bit more. He's had some okay snipes around the ruck and stuff, but I just think that speed of distribution is what they want. And
I agree.
Kyle Preston, I think, brings some of that speed. I think the challenge with that is he also brought a bit of, I'm not sure whether dithering is the right word, but a few times he picked it up, ran left, there's nothing on there, so he turned and ran right, and he got caught. And I just think if you do that against the box, you'll be down, there won't be anyone cleaning, that's probably a turnover, so you can't afford those mistakes. But I also think, it's his first All Blacks game with any meaningful minutes, and the only time he played was at Eden Park, defending the box, defending the record. Like, he was in a pressure cooker there, and he delivered. And I think, yeah, it'll be very interesting. I definitely, um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they pick. I'll come to that in a minute. I've got a few positional one-to-ones that I want you to
Mm,
give me your thoughts on, but um,
interesting.
it's going to be a big game at Ellis Park. 1,700 meters above sea level, high altitude. Australia beat South Africa there last year in a massive upset. It was their first time in 62 years. It is going to be a cracker on Sunday morning.
It's absolutely going to be unreal. I mean, it's like our Eden Park, although
Yeah.
we still have our record intact. Uh,
Just poke the bear. Just get a little bit of rock out of the Sappers. I'm sure they'll let
um,
that one slide. They famously love it when you when you poke them like that.
but yeah, no, absolutely right. Pressure cooker is the right word for it. It is going to be crazy, and that altitude comes into it a lot. Thankfully, the couple of the games we've played this week have been at altitude, and Rennie's made a point of saying it's good to just get the boys out there to have a run round at altitude, get ready for that. But there's no doubt it's one of the hardest places to go and try and win a footy game in the
Yep,
world.
yep, for sure. It'll be interesting to see what team they roll out. I think there's probably quite a few positions that are worth debating. First up, we've got five locks at the moment that are firing. Who do you pick? I think it's been kind of signposted that they want Tupovai at six,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. We'll rule him out of the discussion. But you saw Patrick Tuipulotu had a massive game against Ireland, just absolutely statement performance. He's had good games. I don't probably not quite at that level when he's played so far, but he's put a solid shift in. I think Sam Darry's been pretty good. I think Josh
Yep.
Lord's been pretty good.
Yep.
I think Fabian Holland has probably looked a little rusty in a couple of moments, but has also shown that he can come back pretty quick and just make an impact out off. He's not played any rugby this year. I think he played one NPC game to get match fit, and he motors around at altitude for 70 minutes or 80 minutes or however long he played for, putting in massive tackles, line out steals. Like, he is such a beast. How do you pick, realistically, probably two from those four, and who are they?
It's such a tough one. It's such a cool problem to have because there's not a clear one and two. I think you
Yep.
can. I think we could both name completely different players here and argue our point fairly.
Yep. Yep.
I really like Fabian Holland. I really, really like his presence he brings, how he is in the line out. I really like him, but yeah, I'll agree. He has had maybe a little bit rusty. Fair enough.
I think it's
Missing
just
the
game
entire
time.
season.
He just needs to get back into it. But I mean, I think overall he looked really solid.
Yeah.
And I think probably the two that I'm naming for Test 1, I think I'm locking Paddy T in.
Paddy T.
His physical
Absolutely.
presence, massive frame, leadership. I think he just has to be there.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting who you name beside him, because Josh Lord, we spoke about this last time, he's probably more rangy, a bit more athletic, kind of more similar to Tupou, probably got a few more legs on him. But Sam Darry, probably a bit bigger, a bit beefier. And then you got Fabian Holland. So, I don't know. My 2 cents, probably another week of training. I reckon Fabian will have all those issues worked out. And I think my starting pair is probably Paddy T alongside Fabian. And then 30 minutes to go, you slot Tupou in, take Paddy T off, and bring on a loose forward like probably maybe a
Blackadder.
Signer or a Lakai or someone like that to come on against some tired legs.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I think you can't go past Paddy T at all.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I think without Scott Barrett as well, like, we need someone that's got that huge frame, big, powerful, won't take a step back, can just punch through, particularly against South Africa. I think we need that kind of frame.
Absolutely. I think Paddy T, and to be honest, I think Rennie does name Fabian Holland this week for the first Springbok test. I think it's going to be the sort of right there. I really like Josh Lord. I think he would be my pick if it wasn't Fabian. But yeah, Josh Lord, Sam Darry, they've both been outstanding in the games they've played, and they've played a lot. They've played a heck of a lot.
They've been through some minutes, and I think it's been good for both of them to get time under their belt. They've both looked really solid. Josh Lord looks so good end of year two. He's been so good for the Chiefs this year. You probably haven't seen that like game breaking form from him under Rennie, but I think neither of those guys have put a foot wrong. And it's great because we've got four tests. Like we'll need some of these guys. So yeah, it'll be interesting. We kind of talked about KP versus Cortez as the backup halfback. I mean, obviously you're hoping Cam Roigard starts because Cam Roigard makes all the difference to our team.
He's our most important player on the field. I think he's got
I
to be
agree.
there.
And it's interesting thinking about who starts, right? Because there's a strong case for experience of Cortez, but I just think the way Rennie's playing, he's probably going to back people who fit his game plan better. And I don't think KP's done too much wrong. I think there's a serious chance he gets named on the bench for Roigard.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's going to be the choice. I think it'll be Roigard and KP for the first test there.
What about the hooker? So this is interesting. Cody's only played, was it 45 minutes, 50 minutes? Asafo Moore, I would argue, has been the form hooker so far. I think Tokiaho had an amazing super season, and I don't think he's done anything wrong at international level, but I think Amour's coming on has just brought something else. He's just gone to another level this year, and I think right now he's our best hooker. I think Cody played well, and I think Cody's leadership will be leaned on, and I imagine Cody probably gets a start. But I'd say it's Amour on the bench, and if Cody came off with a injury at 20 minutes, man, what a guy to bring on in Asafa. He is just on fire right now.
Absolutely unreal. I mean, you could put both of them at start, to be honest. I think Cody Taylor does get named. Pretty confident. I'd be pretty confident on that. I think he will get named in the two, unless he's, it would be an injury or something else we're not aware of that would keep him out of that. But I agree. Asafo Moore, he's just looked unreal lately.
And I think it's like you say, it's another great problem to have. There's such depth. You could name Amua and Tokiaho, and you'd be like, wow, what an elite combination. You
Awesome.
could have Cody in there because of the experience, and it's not like he's bad, but Amua has just brought something else, which is so impressive. And then I think probably the hardest area to pick is the loose forward trio. Like
Ah,
you almost go, oh, that'll be easy because you'll have Artie there, obviously, probably playing number 8. You've probably got Luke Jacobson at 7 because that seems to have been where Rennie's head's at. But who do you pick in 6? Like my 2 cents, it's probably Peter Lakai. Like Peter Lakai has just, in my mind, been so good. I think of the Super Rugby final where he chased down that Chiefs outside back and got him. He's had breaks in this game, in the last couple of games he's played, where he's busted a line, and all while tackling the house down. I think he's red hot.
mm,
But then
mm.
you've got Anton Segner, who's been doing amazing. You've got Wallace
Ethan
Satiti
Blackadder's still in
probably
there.
on the bench. Ethan Blackadder's shown up and put a shift in. So what do you,
You
what do
got
you reckon the starting trio?
I'm really, really interested. I mean, we just discussed our locks, and if we do go with our locks being Paddy T and Fabian Holland, which I think is quite
Yeah,
prominent, you can't not have Tupou Vai in your 15.
no, I think he's at
I think
6.
Tupou's at 6. I think they are
Yeah,
going to put Tupou at 6. They're going to go Jacobson, as you said, at 7, and Artie
yeah,
will be captain and number 8.
yeah, I agree.
Uh,
I think
I
the
want
bench is where it
Segner.
gets really interesting. I
I want
reckon
Segner.
I reckon if you're doing that, you're not carrying a lock on the bench, you're playing Toops on the field, you
Yeah,
could see a Segner Lakai, where
yeah,
Lakai comes on for 6 and Segner comes on for Jacobson at 7. Because I just looked at that last game against the Bulls. He had what, like 4 turnovers. He had the second most tackles. Like he was just a workhorse that game. He was so brutal at the breakdown. He was everywhere, dominant tackles. He made carries. He just looks so good, and I think Rennie, I think will reward some of that form and put him in. And I just think of him coming in 20 minutes to go at altitude, like, oh, I'm excited.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I think impact. I mean, you call your bench your impact. We are going
Yeah,
to bring impact with whoever we bring off. And again,
totally.
we're spoiled for choice. We are
Yeah,
absolutely spoiled for choice here. But I think it will be that Tupou via 6. I think we'll see Jacobson start at 7 and Artie at 8.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think Roygard, Love, 9-10, lock it in, no
they're
debate. They're
pretty
looking
safe.
good.
Yeah,
I think
very
Geordie,
safe.
12. I think he's probably first equal, our most important player. I think he just looks so good against the Sharks, just coordinating everything. I think he adds real stability to Love at 10. He's such a playmaker. He's so key, and
Mm.
I think Quintu Pai is probably at 13.
I like
I
Quinn
don't think
Tupac
that's in
at 13.
question. I think he's played really well.
I'm gutted that Proctor's on the way home. I'm really gutted. I think that hurts us. But
Yeah,
Quinn
I think it does too.
absolutely
I
is
think at the
unreal.
same time you've seen Rico step up in a way that the last couple of years he probably hasn't. And I think there seems to be a freshness. Like I think not being named in selection, not being in that team, he spoke a bit about how you kind of don't realize how much you miss it until you don't have it. And his last couple of games have been so good. He's been
Mm.
all over the show. I see him as a really powerful bench option. He can cover wing, he can cover centre. You've got Quinn who can cover 12 if Geordie were to go down. He can play wing if one of those wingers that we've got that plays fullback needed to move back, like a Morby or a Jordan or someone like that.
Yeah.
And I think he's looked good. I think he's looked fast. I think he's looked powerful. He's got experience. That first game experience, I think, is probably going to be the route you take because
Mm.
they need people who have been there, who've been in the cooker, and who can say to those younger guys like a Morby, like a Love, it's okay, guys. Even a Quintu Pire, it's okay. Like, just stay calm. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think. I mean, this is where it gets so tricky, isn't it? Mackenzie's picked up his injury. Otherwise, I'd say
Let's
he's a
say,
guaranteed
let's
15.
say, let's say Mackenzie's at 15 because Dave was
Okay.
saying he's hoping to be back there. So let's just say Mackenzie we put at 15. You're probably putting Will Jordan 14.
Yep.
Who are you putting on the left wing?
Morby.
Morby. I think it's such a tough call to make because Morby's been on fire. I thought Leroy Carter's looked fantastic. He's looked so electric, And I almost think, like, if D-Max touch and go, and I know we just said that we're locking him in, but let's say he's touch and go, even if he's good to play, I almost wonder if you put Jordan at 15,
Move Jordan to 15
Carter
and bring
left
Carter in.
wing, and then Josh Morby on the right wing, because they've both just been so good,
Yeah,
so good. Yeah,
unreal. I really like Carter. I like Carter a lot. I think I don't really mind which way, like if it was Morby or if it was Carter. Carter
yeah,
just seems to be everywhere. Like I swear he still thinks he's playing sevens. He's just
yeah.
everywhere. And
I
who's
think the
running a
thing about
support line? It's Carter.
Morby and Carter, they're both really busy, which is great. You know, they're off the ball, they're working hard. Oh man, what a smorgasbord! Great problems to have. I can't think of, a time in recent history where there's been so much competition for just about every position.
Mm.
I think the three that are locked down and safe, and I'm actually going to say two. I think 9 and 12 are just so far clear of what anyone else is doing right now. I think Ruben Love is pretty safe at 10, but just as we say that, Richie Moanga's over
Yeah,
there.
whose plane's
He's
just
training.
touched down.
He'll get a go surely at some point,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
And then you've got, people like a Josh Jacob who realistically is still some way away from being a starting 10. But man, he looked good.
He
And
looked unreal.
you've got Bowden Barrett, who is I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball. Bodie looked good at 15. I think it was a good game from Bodie at 15.
I liked Bodie at 15 a whole lot more than I liked him at 10.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. And I think, again, I just think of experience, outside of Love, someone who's been there, who's done it.
mm,
So, if we saw DMAC not able to play, what do you do? It's personally, my read is you put Jordan there. But Rennie has showed an absolute reluctance to play Jordan anywhere other than the wing. So,
well,
who knows?
you can also, I mean, you could put Morby back there if
Could put
Rennie
Morby
wanted
there.
to.
I think you
Um,
probably want experience, right? Like for a game, for the first test, you probably, my 2 cents, Morby's look great on the wing. I'm sure he can play fullback. I think you probably put Bodie there if you're not moving Jordan.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think, I mean, you'd just be hard pressed to not have him on the field. No Morby, no
Yeah.
Carter. Yeah, I mean, that's hard. It's
Options.
so hard. There are
Options,
so many
options.
options. I think we will see. I mean, I hope we see Mackenzie back. I like him.
Yeah,
He's an
me too.
informed,
Well, there's 4 tests. There's plenty
great
of time.
15. Yeah.
I think we'll see a bit of rotation. So, with that all said and done, what's the prediction? First of all, are we winning? Are we losing? What do you reckon? First test.
um, I am optimistic. I'm optimistic. I think we win,
Yep.
and it's by less than 7.
Less than 7.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I think we win as well, but I think we win 12 plus.
Wow.
I think she's a close game, and I think it's going to be a repeat of the Stormers. It's going to be a real battle, and then in the last 10, we're just going to absolutely slice them open.
Gee.
And we'll see. Yeah, I just think the way we've been finishing games has been so impressive. And yes, it's made the score lines look a bit more flattering than they probably were. And maybe that's this, provincial team switching off a bit as they realise they've lost to the All Blacks. There's probably a bit of that. But I also just think the conditioning, the altitude, the pressure. I just think the All Blacks are willing to play and they're willing to chance their arm, and that's what Rennie's drilled. And I just think there'll be a few of them that won't go to hand, and that's what the Springboks will strike off that. But I think just as the game comes on, we'll just continue trying to play, and towards the end, maybe a few will come off.
I like it.
What do you reckon?
I think our bench is our strong point. Like Springboks are a fantastic side. I think whoever their first 15s, they're kind of you could look at either and make the case they're the better team. I think we're going to have the better bench.
It'll be very interesting because famously the Box have brought a lot of power off the bench,
Oh, when they just replace their whole front row before a scrum, yeah, that's
and they do it with
terrifying.
with probably a better front row than they had on the field. Yeah, I think the scrum's going to be a massive area of contention, and
Yeah.
I'm more confident these last couple of games than I was before. But I think we need to yeah, the scrum will be not like the game will be won or lost, but it kind of will. You know,
Mm.
if we need parity at scrum time minimum
Yeah,
for us to be in this game,
yeah,
and you know the line out defense has looked much improved the last two games, but that is just going to have to be, we're just going to have to be on. However, I do think defensively the last two games we've looked a lot better and a lot stronger. But you know, it'll be yeah, it'll be interesting. What a battle.
yeah. I think it's going to be unreal. Obviously, South Africa does have that bomb squad,
Yeah.
terrifying weapon, but I forgetting the Stormers game. I don't think we think about that scrum. I don't think we're going to see that scrum again from the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think it's not. I mean, a lot of people have said it's what's going to win this series for the South Africans. I put trust in our boys that it won't be
Yep.
that much of a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it'll be exciting, and I just can't wait to see Artie back, rested, fired
Yes.
up. You know, I can just feel like a legendary Artie performance coming. You know, off the back of some time off, here to make a statement, show that he's not been wasting his time, which obviously we all know he hasn't. He'll be so well conditioned. Um, I just think that rest and reset will just be so good for him, and I reckon he'll be so fired up to lead the All Blacks in South Africa. Oh, I can't wait.
That's going to be so good.
Alrighty, so now it's time for our offside opinion. So you know the rules here. One of us is going to say a bit of a hot take, something a bit out there. They will be allowed to make their case and explain what they think should happen, and then the other one will go to the TMO, and we'll find out if it's a play on or if it's offside. So why don't you start us off, Monty?
Rightio, I'm going to start us off. A bit of a different one, but I'm going down the 9 route, halfback route. So I am going to say KP gets named. So a bit of a two-parter. KP will get named on the bench as our backup halfback for the first series, and KP will play well enough to put him clear of Ratama and the incoming Noah Hotham.
Okay, so you reckon KP will take that kind of next up after Cam Ruigard for the series,
The
pending
number
any
two spot.
issues? Yeah,
Yeah,
which historically you'd say has sat with Cortez.
definitely. I think it's
Yeah,
safely sat with Cortez as well. Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Oosh.
KP's going to show he's got speed. He's got a good kicking. His box kick is strong. I think I think he needs to just stop with. He's not exactly a snipe, but what his key is that speed. He gets to the ruck and he gets the ball. He distributes fast and he keeps our offense moving
He's got
forward
a bullet pass on
instead
him
of
as
the
well. Mm.
bullet pass. And his pass is unreal. You know, he's perfect at putting the pass right across the chest of their first player. Take it if you want it, or leave it straight in the hands of our second player. I think
Oh,
he has a lot more to offer the side, and I think
yep.
he's going to become our second rate. I'm not saying in any way that he's
Interesting.
going to challenge Roygaard's spot.
Sure.
No,
At this
that's a
stage.
bit too out there at this stage. But I think he's going to overtake Ratama as our preferred number two.
What do I think? It's out there.
It
I
is.
like it. I like it, and do you know why I like it? I like it because I think you've seen Rennie say, if you're playing, I'm going to back your form. You've seen that with Love. You've seen that with, a number of the players he's brought into this environment. Your Josh Morbies, your Fahis. If you're on form, he's happy to pick you. And I think KP is building really nicely. And I think it will hinge on this weekend. And I think what will make it or break it, like obviously the All Blacks coaches in recent years have been like Roygaard plays for 75 minutes kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I just wonder like, yes he hasn't had much game time, but 4 tests back to back to back to back, will they do that this time? Do you flog Roygaard for 75 minutes and then bring on a bit of bench cover, or do you say we actually have to take a chance on one of our nines? So
Can
anyway,
you
I think
afford
if
to? Can
can
you
you
afford
afford
to
to?
flog Roygaard like that, and then he turns up an injury, and you're like,
He
oh well,
pulls a
where's that come
calf and
from?
now he's done.
I don't
So
think
I
you can.
think I don't think you can either, and I think as a result, whoever they pick will have to have a performance to keep the jersey, and I believe in my boy KP. I
Me
reckon
too.
he delivers and he takes that number 2 spot. So
Yeah,
will Timo's come back? And Timo said play on. That's allowed.
love it. Yeah, absolutely. Great decision. Great Timo.
So all right, my one. We'll go to the Timo now. My offside opinion. Maybe not too crazy, but I think whoever wins this first game wins the series in South Africa. Um, and
Hmm.
I just think there's a few things at play. First and foremost, they've yarned about the altitude. We've heard it a lot, but I just think this game is going to open up at the end of the game, and I think that's what suits the All Blacks. Um, and I just think psychologically, this game is going to set the tone for the tour. Whoever loses this one will have a point to prove next week. Um, but I just think if the Box had the cage rattled by the RGs, and then at Ellis Park they lose to the All Blacks, and in my mind they're losing like not like blowout, not like games we've been seeing, but I think there's a bit of a margin in there. It's not like it's a penalty in the 80th minute. Like I think there's a few points in it. I just want like, do you? I heard the calls that were coming out after they lost to the Aussies, and this whole like Tony Brown's got to go. Let's go back to the bot game we know and love. Like, there was a few South African fans that were a bit shaken from that. And I know Wellington last year did the same to us. In fact, I'd say it was
Absolutely.
worse. It just absolutely obliterated first Razor Robertson and B the All Blacks' confidence. That just absolutely demolished them. However, I just think this game is so pivotal. If we can come out and make it not close, if we can win by like a solid margin, I just think the confidence the ABs are going to take from that, they're just going to keep going. And even if they lose the next one or the third one, I just think the confidence from that win against South Africa, which we've only got in the fortress of Eden Park. We've lost everything else for the last 3 years, 2 years. If we can beat them at Ellis Park, playing our style of rugby, I can just see them go up a level to another gear. And I think that if they do that, they take the series in South Africa.
Interesting. And you see it going the other way as well. If South Africans get up, they win this first one. You think they'll have the
I just think
series?
they get the leg. You know, obviously, I think it's going to be a 2-1 series in South Africa, and I think the again it's the psychological stuff. If they're able to overcome those jitters from RGs, they come out, they win this at home. I think they manage to squeak another one, and we win the third. And my overall prediction at this stage is a 2-2. Whoever but I just think the series in South Africa is the key. And for the All Blacks to say they won a series against the South Africans would just be unbelievable for their confidence. And so I think it has to start with this test. I think you need to clinch this one to carry that momentum into the next 2 games.
Interesting. It's an interesting argument. I don't know. I just don't know if it's that pivotal. If that's, I think it's important. I definitely do, but I don't think if whichever team doesn't win this series, I don't think they're out of it at all. I wouldn't count them out. And I mean, if South Africa wins it, I'm not going to hang my head and say we're done for. But also, if All Blacks win it, I'm not going to hang my cap up and say we've won it already.
True.
I don't know. I think these two teams are just so skilled. Their gameplay is so interesting to watch how it works with one another. I think there's going to be a couple of really pivotal moments. It's going to be a pivotal penalty. It's going to be a pivotal, potentially an intercept. It's going to be something where
Mm.
the momentum just swings in the game, and it's going to be on those moments that someone wins or loses. And I think those moments are going to happen for either team, no matter who wins the first series, the
Yeah,
first game.
yeah, it's a fair point. I hear what you're saying.
I think, yeah, I don't know.
So
I'm not confident
what's
enough to.
what's the ref say? What's
I
the
dare
decision?
say. Let me have a look at another angle. No,
Let me
I'm
just
going.
ignore what the on-field ref's saying.
Yeah, I have clear evidence to overturn the on-field decision. I think it's offside.
It's not allowed. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I suppose we'll wait and see, won't we?
We shall. We shall. That's an interesting concept, actually. I'm very. It'll be interesting to see what the pundits reckon after the first game. You know,
Mm.
oh, South Africa's going to win it all, or all Blacks are. I just don't see anyone. If the All Blacks win the first one, me personally, I don't see anyone going series is over. All Blacks have won it.
Yes, true. No, it's a good point, and I
Unless
don't think
it's like Wellington last year and it's us doing the demolition rather than
or like
Zephyrs.
the Wallabies at Ellis Park.
Well, potentially.
Who
Yeah.
knows? A man can dream. Anyway, we'll know soon enough. Um, so that's enough All Blacks chat. There's a bit of news upcoming. We've obviously, as Canterbury, got another Shield defence back-to-back this Thursday against Northland Taniwhas, which will be a great game. It'll be interesting to see Rivers playing in the new stadium, but for the other team. Canterbury kind of scraped it together against Bay of Plenty. They came out humming in the first half, and then I don't know what the Oranges at halftime had in them for the Bay of Plenty, but they just came out absolutely fired up. They were
It
buzzing,
was
and
unreal, man.
they almost looked like they'd unlocked our defence. You know, that first 20 minutes after half-time, it was just an unbelievable comeback for Bay of Plenty, and we just couldn't get any momentum. And we had a few last minute, and anyway, it all came right in the end, but I just think it's going to be another tough one this Thursday, but I'm excited for it. Midweek rugby, how good?
How good. Get it on a Thursday. So good. I think Canterbury are going to get it done, but again, how exciting does it make us? I mean, perfect. We go down there to Otago.
Every match just has so much more hanging over it. Like, I think the Ranfurly is such a good idea. I think they should introduce a similar concept for Super, because the idea that you're just defending it, you know, there's so much more buy-in. You just actually feel like this test matters. Not test, this match matters, that it really is a test. You know, you can't afford to make silly mistakes. You know, I think it's great.
It's not just an early season home game where, I mean, sure, we want to win it, but if we lose it, we're still going to make the finals. We're still going to, we just need to play come end of the season. Whereas it's like, no, we lose the Shield, we might not get the shot to take it back. We need to, let's go right now. And how good, I mean, Otago won it last year. We go down to Otago, take it off them, and now we're holding it. It's awesome.
I dare say there's few people that are as sweet to take the Shield off than Otago.
Yeah.
There's something about it. It just really fills you with happiness if you're a Cantabrian. There's another big game coming up on Saturday, the Black Ferns versus Australia, with several people from Super Rugby Aupaki that had great seasons getting the call up. Wallace Satiti's sister has been called up as well. She's just 19. She had a great season for the Blues. So stoked to see her in the mix. She was so destructive when she got the ball going. So how good to have both brother and sister. I often see Noah Hotham's sister. I've just forgotten her first name, but I think she plays for the Sevens. And often it comes up about like this brother-sister duo both competing in rugby. So pretty cool to have another duo with the Satitis.
That's fantastic. What a power couple. What an absolute force to be reckoned with. And I mean, we got to watch that Super Rugby Aupaki final, and she was unreal on the field there. So 19? 19?
Crazy, eh?
That's nuts.
Yeah, and Matatu, both with Eleanor Plum King and Maya Davis getting the call up as well. So cool to see a bit of fresh blood in the system. It certainly seems that the new head coach there has shaken a few things up, and there's a real sense of belief around the team, which is cool to see. So we wish the girls well against Australia. There's few teams that we'd love to beat more than the Aussies, so I hope they go well. I'm sure they will. And then actually in a couple of weeks they're playing against the South African women as the same day as the test. So we'll wish them well then again.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm really excited for that game and the South Africa game. I think that's going to be really, really cool to see. And I'm very excited for Matatu's season next year. I think there's some great things to come.
I think they're building, and they had a good season this year, and I think they'll just build on it for sure. Very good. All right, well, if you enjoyed, please leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. Hopefully we'll be back with the in-person podcast shortly, and we'll be doing a deep review of how this All Blacks game goes early next week, along with our prediction for match 2. So we'll see if maybe my optimistic but hopeful result is delivered, or maybe Monty's pessimistic one penalty match winning result is the outcome.
We shall see. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Very good. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
All
Cheers.
right, see ya.